With so many people going to see Avengers Endgame still, you can only imagine how much money would be made if each individual person went to a comic book store to buy one comic book.
That's kind of the crazy thing. If you're realizing that Marvel's making over $1 billion for this movie, but 1.2 million people aren't going out and buying one comic a piece from a shop, go support your local shops.
That's right. Oh, and hit that subscribe button because we got a hot list of comic books to discuss.
Yes, we do, Tom.
This last week, we had a bunch of spikes. And CBSI, comicbookinvest.com, they have put together this hot list to cover them, to inform the comic book community.
This is a crazy list this week because we're far enough after Endgame that there's not anything that's being driven by these movies. A lot of new, interesting things all over. So make sure you hit that like button down below.
Starting the list off at number 10, like we always do, we have Veronica issue number 28 from 1993 making the list.
This is an Archie comic. This doesn't seem to have any keys at all whatsoever, but what it does have is a very gorgeous Dan DeCarlo cover with Veronica jumping into a swimming pool. And yeah, it is a hot cover, and it's turning out to be a hot book. There are 2 sales of this in the last month, one at $55 and one at $35, but there isn't a whole lot of other information on this book. This is an interesting one because you realize it's probably a low print one. You realize since it's generally a kid's book, a lot of these are going to be in low grade. It's kind of akin to a Golden Age Headlights cover. It's just one that is a little bit more risque than you would see for a normal kid's comic.
You don't see these often. They typically go unnoticed. I think of comic books like Archie's Madhouse, issues 22, first appearance of Sabrina. She's not even on the cover. Issue 24, her second appearance, not even on the cover. How often do we see Archie collections? Just piles of Archie comics because they're not really wanted in the community. They're typically really beat up because they were read to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the key appearances go unnoticed, but sometimes they're in there.
Oh, they absolutely are. And Archies are odd because you'll get a pile of Archies, and it's like you get a Reggie and Me, and you get a Pep, and you get a Jughead's Pals, and you get a Benny and Veronica, and they're all over the place. But every once in a while, you have a gem, and if you know what you're looking for, you might find something like a Betty and Me 16.
Oh, did you find a bunch of those recently?
I have found 3 of them in the last couple of years. This is one that I actually am going to compare this Veronica 28 to as a more risque cover that shouldn't necessarily. So back in the day, the phrase on the cover didn't mean what it does now, but collectors are looking at anything that they can to kind of drive these prices. And this one is definitely a little bit more risque along the same lines as Veronica 28.
Absolutely. Let's take a look here at number 9 on the list. We have 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, issue number 1. This is a 5-issue series that came out in 2016. It has been optioned. Turns out Matthew Rosenberg is going to be writing a script for this movie.
Okay.
This is like a Wes Anderson version of Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
Dark, but humorous.
Sure.
Father who gets roped into doing a heist with a bunch of people who are really dumb. In order to keep her father safe, she's got to get involved. It sounds funny, but collectors have taken this $5 book and pushed the price clear past $15. Brian K. Vaughan had nothing but nice things to say about this. Greg Rucka said this is a kick-ass book, so I'm interested in checking it out, and I'm excited to follow it as we get closer to a finished script to see if it's going to make a movie.
Yeah, that does sound very, very cool, Tom.
All right, what do we got here at number 8? Because we got a repeat offender.
Number 8, we have Bloodstone number 1. Now, we saw this on the list last week, and this is written by Abnett and Lanning. Mm-hmm. Fantastic idea, fantastic writing team, really, really good. And the concept, again, kind of seems like a blonde Tomb Raider. I mean, it seems like someone who's, a female Indiana Jones. And these are scarce. And I think this may have been put on people's radars because all of a sudden this went from $25-30 last week to $40 this week.
Yeah, I'm thinking that because they're kind of scarce, finding that high-grade copy is going to be more and more difficult. Mm-hmm. So people are willing to pay that extra $10-15 to ensure one that doesn't have a bunch of creases and may grade potentially.
Right.
All right. At number 7, we have the Deceased number 1, Zhang store exclusive variant. This was a set that went for $75 at pre-release. And if you bought one at $75, you're going to be happy because these are going for $150 for a set.
Crazy.
This was the favorite in the community. That's very clear. This wasn't my favorite. I know this wasn't yours. You mentioned to me early on that you were not a fan of this.
I am not a fan of this, and everyone kind of knows my personal preference on Joker right now, and a zombified Joker that looks like someone's creepy grandma is just not doing it for me. I'm a massive fan of the Shannon Mayer Harley Quinn variant because it's got that really beautiful color bleed, and Harley just looking fantastic on this cover.
Yasmin Putri has been killing it with her covers lately.
The horror homage ones, yes.
Yeah, the Pennywise one is my favorite, but I just saw that Nightmare on Elm Street one.
Oh my God.
Holy smokes. I'm excited that DC is taking risks with horror covers, and I know the community is appreciating it as well. And then here at the list at number 6, I'm going to need some help here because I'm not familiar with Commie. What is this? Commie number 1. This is a very exclusive variant. I'm assuming not a lot of people bought it, but it's a book that went from like the $100 range clear past to $150.
So the Commie books, 6-issue miniseries that was based on Japanese versions of American characters, and Commie is like American comics is kind of how they put them together. So they have a bunch of female superheroes. Fantastic. That's great. I was trying to do some research. I think it was a 1 in 25 variant, so it was a ratio variant, but not a lot of people were ordering this. I think I was ordering 3 copies of this book. And so the fact that this book has spiked so heavily, I mean, $150 for this variant, it's a really great Wonder Woman variant, absolutely. And yeah, the print run's going to be super low on it.
It reminds me of that other scarce variant, that Marvel Tsum Tsum.
Yeah, Tsum Tsums, yep.
Yeah, it goes for a lot of money, but if people aren't picking it up at first release, those variants are so hard to come by.
They really are, which is weird because now you have Marvel on the other side of the spectrum with 1 in 25 variants on second print books. New Agents of Atlas, I'm looking at you.
All right, let's take a break from the list and give a shout out to members of the community who went over on Instagram and tagged us, letting us know what things they found out on the hunt this week. And we have some members who really killed it.
Oh, we absolutely did. First on the list, we have a homie, Illustuminati, showing off his 2 slabbed ASM 361s and the Maximum Carnage video game variant. That is so scarce. And I really do want to give you a super, super cool congratulations on hitting your Kickstarter goal for your comic Sav. This looks super cool. And we're looking for a stretch goal right now. So link in the bio down below if you want to support someone who's part of the community and has been supporting the show for a very, very long time. Thank you so much. And we love you very much, man.
A big congratulations to Supremo Superman, who is showing off his 4 copies of War of the Gods #1. He mentioned after seeing the list, he's like, oh, I got like multiple copies of those in that long box in the corner of my room.
Right.
So I'm glad that he was able to spot them because those books are going for a good amount of money. And he also went to Orlando Comic-Con, the MegaCon over there, and had a really cool comic haul.
Very, very cool.
Bunch of Silver Age X-Men.
Oh, nice. That's a great find. Mike Pal 88 also had a great haul from MegaCon in Orlando. We should have been in Orlando this week. Lots of Rick and Morty goodness and a Thor 390.
Chris, the comic hunter, he picked up a ASM 347 and 360. Love that 360. It's an affordable Carnage cameo appearance, much cheaper than that 361.
So even though Endgame is not making the 10 themselves, we have people out finding them. We have Geek Out Therapy who pulled an Avengers 12 holding that gauntlet out of a dollar bin.
Yes, good job. That is so cool.
Find on that one. It's awesome.
Very, very good. All right, and then we have Patrick Dakin, Point Break 51, and Just Podcast showing off their Thor 337s. Holy smokes, a lot of members in the community picking up Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, it's really, really good. And you know what? I heard a whole lot of drums this week. Everyone's showing off their voodoo. I got tagged so many times for this amazing Strange Tales with the first appearance of Brother Voodoo last week. We had Schlomichael. We had, oh my God, is that his name, right?
Yeah.
We had Schlomichael, who has a Raw 1 and a 9.2 signed by Stan Lee, and a Thor 337 and 390. We have the Comic Book Champ and J-Dub for life. Thank you, all of you, for showing off your first Brother Voodoo.
Absolutely. All right, here at the list at number 5, I am so stoked because we got Godzilla in Hell, #1, hitting the list. This is a book people weren't expecting to spike. It's hitting $25, Russ.
This is really weird, and there have been a ton of Godzilla miniseries and ongoings. There was the Marvel one. There's been multiple Dark Horse ones. We had an IDW one. I mean, there's lots of these that have been coming out of the woodworks. So the fact that Godzilla in Hell #1 is hitting $25 this week, that I don't know. I mean, is this going to be the plot to the movie? Do we know if there's an actual reason behind it, or is this just
I think it's
the
just
one that
because of
got
the
selected?
movie. I think it's just because of the
Maybe.
movie. You know, it's coming out at the right time, and people are excited about this.
Looks
I'm
good.
so
It looks
pumped,
good. It looks
man.
good.
I
Yeah.
have been wanting another big monster movie. I'm a huge like Cloverfield fan. I really like that kind of stuff. So I
right.
want like a disaster movie. And oh my gosh, Mothra looks beautiful. Godzilla looks huge. This is what I need.
Okay, so people like you are keeping Michael Bay in paychecks, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Then here at the list at number 4, we have Thor 337 again.
Well, this is no surprise. I mean, Beta Ray Bill made it last week, and I even mentioned it last week that it has been a long time coming for Beta Ray Bill to get the love he deserves. He's been such a fantastic character. Now, something interesting that you were noticing, as well as the CBSI folks, is that there seems to be a good amount of people who are actually seeking out the newsstand variant over the regular variant. Now, why do you think that is, Tom?
Preferences, man. I think that there are so many copies of this book that exist. I mean, there's been collectors that have been buying this book just because they've been fans of Thor and Beta Ray, not because of any movie news. Now that we have movie news, they're buying it more and more.
Right.
Well, collectors have that. They have high grade copies. They got to go one step further. They're going for those rare, scarce ones. And, you know, if you have that cereal bar on the bottom, it's going to be a little bit rarer. And if you have like a Mark Jewelers variant or something, people are going to pay even more. And we are seeing that happen right now.
So, Tom, where are these coming in about this week?
All right, we have 9.6s hitting $350. We have 9.8s hitting $650.
And that's over the 500 we saw last week.
Sure is.
Crazy.
All right, at the list, at number 3, we got Ghost Rider coming in strong this week.
So, all new Ghost Rider number 1, Robbie Reyes' first appearance, made the list a few weeks ago on news that there was going to be something in development for a show with him in it. So this is the number 1 variant, the More variant. 9.8 just sold for $575, and Raws are now $200 plus.
Whew, that happened quick.
It really, really did. Like I said, a lot of people bought the first few issues, but not really the later issues. People just weren't getting on the art bandwagon, and this is no different. I mean, it's a very cool cover, but this is really probably driven more by the relative scarcity than the actual desirability of the art.
I agree. I think we may even have some other issues in this run that may start spiking, and when you apply that scarce variable to it, when people weren't buying those later issues,
Right.
we may see surprises like this in the future.
Absolutely.
At the list at number 2, we have Thunderbolt news. What is going on? Thunderbolts in development at Marvel? Marvel is reportedly developing a Thunderbolts movie.
Okay.
All right. And this is what's really cool. They're also saying that the villain is going to be the leader. We haven't seen the leader since 2010's The Hulk.
Wow.
All right. So this book is issue 449 of The Incredible Hulk. It's the first appearance of Thunderbolts. 9.6s they were going for under $100 at one point. Now they're going between $100 and $165. 9.8s up from $250 to $350 now.
Raws are going for $50 buy it now on eBay, and not a couple of them. They are consistently going for $45 to $50 for a raw copy of Incredible Hulk 449.
Samuel Stearns, aka The Leader, first appeared in Tales to Astonish issue number 62. This is a Silver Age comic book. It's affordable. A lot of people aren't specking on this book, and there is a last page pinup of the Hulk in this issue. You got to look at these pages when you're buying this book, and a lot of them aren't going to have that pinup.
Right.
What happened with that pinup?
Oh, a lot of times people cut them out and, thumbtacked them on the wall.
It's kind of like that Marvel value stamp situation we regularly deal with.
Right.
So look out for that. It gives us another reason to be careful with the book, but also to collect it to have a complete copy.
So speaking of pinups, this next book has something that's even beyond a pinup, Tom.
That's right. Coming in at number 1. Coming in from out of the country.
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes, this is a cool book. we got Captain Britain #1 making the list.
Now, this is really, really cool. This is a scarce, tough to find book because, yes, it was made in the UK. So, about 6 months ago, we had Marvel Team Up number 65 show up on this list because it was the first US appearance of Captain Britain, because there was speculations of things happening. And we've seen a 9.8 recently sell of that book for $230. But Captain Britain #1 was printed in the UK, much tougher to find. Well, an 8.0 went for $200, a 9.2 went for $450, a 9.4 went for $550, and a 9.8 went for $3,000. Now, Tom, can you think of any reason why this would be extra tough to find in those grades?
Absolutely. So what's cool about this book, aside from it being the first full appearance of Captain Britain, like this is it right here, it's super scarce, low print. I mean, Steranko did the third story in there, so you got that added layer of really good storytelling in this book. And it came with a little extra inside. It came with the mask, the Captain Britain mask. Now, this would be on the inside cover. That's where they would place these things. And if you would find this in a long box, what happens to these comic books? They get smushed. They get smushed so hard. I'm thinking of like the Resident Evil comic book done by Bill Sienkiewicz. There's that coupons on the inside that were left on the inside. So when you find like a near mint copy of it, you get that outline of that coupon. Same thing happening with this book. It is tough finding high grades of this, let alone complete copies.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I keep seeing the Rocky and Bullwinkle 3D comics that come with the 3D glasses, and I can't tell you how many times there's either an imprint in the book or that's fallen out from time. So finding one of these that isn't going to have a weird indent because of the mask and actually still has the mask, that is going to be the biggest thing that keeps this book even extra desirable.
I'm excited to follow Captain Britain. I have a feeling he's going to be on this list in the future.
I agree entirely, Tom.
All right. Big shout out to our winner of last week's giveaway. We have a Savage She-Hulk issue #1 going out to Daniel Speller. Congrats. Thank you for participating by commenting down below. If you let us know what you think about this list, what was your favorite comic book? Are you excited for a Captain Britain movie? Let us know so we can enter you to win this Marvel Age issue #6. This is one of 2 early appearances of Beta Ray Bill that predates Thor 337.
Yes, we actually talked about this in one of our True First videos. So like, subscribe, comment down below for an opportunity to win this book.
Thank you so much to comicbookinvest.com, CBSI, for putting out such great content all the time, throughout the week, every single day, to all the volunteers who make this whole thing possible. And as always,
geek responsibly.
Enough said. Russ, you have a Patreon.
I do. As a matter of fact, if any of you out there are looking for a local comic shop, or you are living far enough away from a place that you'd like me to mail comics to you, sign up in the link down below. We have an online pull box system. You can do all your ordering online, and we will ship comics out to you every single month.
Ooh, well put.